Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I got another Naraka video for y'all, and it is the best places to drop in Naraka Bladepoint. So let's get started. So just a little bit of an overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about gold tier loot areas, what the money town is besides Celestra, spirit wells, fruit areas where you can get fruit. And after we're going to go into the Morris map, we're going to be talking about popular areas, underpopulated areas, areas that you can probably go on your second or third trip, as well as areas you should probably walk past after you're done looting your main spots. Then we're going to be going on to the Hollaroth map, which we're going to be talking about the popular areas, again, the underpopulated areas, as well as areas that you should probably walk past during that map. So, first up, we are going to be talking about the gold tier loot areas. So, the gold tier loot areas gives you a higher chance to get better weapons, armor, and utilities, such as full armor powders, health powders, and better soul jades. These gold tier loot areas around the map are randomized in every match, and you can tell where these places are because in each specific spot it will be highlighted in gold. Next, we're going to be talking about the Money Town. You probably already guessed it has a lot of gold and money and coins to buy stuff from the shop. So we all know there's amazing stuff from the shop that you can buy, and if you don't have enough gold, where can you go? And this is the spot to go if you're on the Morris map. It's a spot where you can break lots of pots and boxes to get enough gold to purchase items in the store. This is especially useful when wanting to get enough money to bring your teammate back. That's the place that people usually go to. And so that's the Money Town in the Morse map. Next, we're going to be talking about fruit areas. So we all know fruit gives us boosts in our health, our attack, defense, etc. And let's say you also have alchemy, which is a soul jade that permanently increases your stats when you get fruit. So if you do get that soul jade and you want to boost your stats permanently, you want to go to shipwreck. The full name is shipwreck expense, and there's a ton of fruit around there. You can get so much fruit from there, and people usually stack up their alchemy soul jade really quickly. And also, it's not even just in Shipwreck, but just around, like the small towns around it. Check those bushes. There is always a lot of fruit there. Next, we're going to be talking about the spirit wells. So spirit wells are circles around the map where you stand in for a certain amount of time and then drops either one or the other or both of these purple crystals. And one crystal can upgrade your weapon to the same weapon but in epic form, so the purple. And one can do the same but for your armor. And these are usually spawned on the edges of the map, so it can benefit when you're spawning at the edge of the map because it forces you to travel at the edge of the map if you want to get those epic items if you don't have them already. So that's just a little bit of a tip if you want to spawn around the edge of the map and not fight immediately because people usually spawn near the middle. But now we're going to be going on to our first map, which we have the Morris map. So we're going to be talking about popular areas. So popular areas, we have Celestra, Eventide Temple, and Shipwreck Expense. These places have an insane amount of people constantly going there, even though it's not a gold tier loot area, and it always has amazing loot. Even as I said, even though it's not a gold tier loot area. But if you really want to get into the action, you really want to find great loot, these are definitely the spots to go during the Morris map. But next we have is the Origin Island. So if you guys don't know, the Origin Island is on the Morris map, and not a lot of people know this, but it is the waiting room when you're like loading into the game. So you can actually spawn there. And I wouldn't recommend this if it's not a gold tier loot area, but if this place is gold tier loot area, I'm telling you, if it is highlighted, you want to go there, especially if you're solos or duos, because there is insane loot there. I got golds and purples, and I was fully decked out before I even saw anyone. And so, if you want to have a quiet place to go and you want to have great loot, make sure you go there if it is a gold tier loot area. But next, we're going to be going on to the underpopulated areas. So, in my opinion, I put Sungwing's Rest and Shadow Jade Mine here. These are main places to drop, but not as popular as like Eventide Temple or the others. Just because when they're not a gold tier loot area, usually people don't drop there since you would usually go to the edge only for good loot. But if there isn't any, you might as well stay around the middle of the map. As I said, if you are going to be around the edge, you're probably going to be playing around the Spirit Wells. But those places are not as popular. So if you want to get like decent, pretty good loot, but have a less likely of a chance to fight people, those are definitely places to go. But moving on to our next category, we have places that you should probably go in like your second or third trip of looting. And I have Council Courtyard, which is a great place to go after Shipwreck Expense. It has a pretty good and decent loot area. After that, I have Zest Winery, is a great place to go after Celestra or Shipwreck. There's usually like one or two fights around there, so be aware. Then I have Sunval Dwelling, which is there's usually like a store around there and a couple fights. So if you want to purchase some goods or you want to get into the mix, definitely a place to go. Moving on to our final category, we have places to go where you should probably travel to while you're like traveling from one location to the other. And those places are Daily Meadow, which is a great place to go when walking past it. It has average loot for the most part, but not a lot of it. There is usually sometimes gold loot there, so you want to actually just take your chances and go. Um, and if I do remember correctly, it is near the top left of the map. Next, I have Golden Tortoise, which is a great place to go. It has pretty average loot. Once again, it's not big enough for amazing loot, but it is a good place to go while you're walking past it. Next up, we have the Hollaroth map. And so, first off, we're going to be talking about the popular areas. So, first up is Plumed Castle, which has lots of fighting and insane loot. And so, if you want to just get right into it, that is the greatest place you can possibly go to. Right underneath that, we have the Salvation Podium, which has lots of fighting usually. It has the two ballistas and has great loot, and it also has the four statues. So if you do complete the puzzle, you do get a chest. And when I tell you, when this place has a gold tier loot area on it, and you do complete that puzzle, you're most likely gonna get the red armor, or you're gonna get two gold weapons or armor. So that is honestly just such a great place to go. If you want to go for that first, then Plumed Castle, or Plumed Castle, then Salvation Podium, up to you. But next up, we have Fortress Caviani, which is a smaller place than all the other main places to drop, but I still recommend going there. It's a good place to drop. It has good loot, and it is a quiet place for the most part. After that, I have the Yueshan Ruins. It has a lot of good loot. This place is packed with loot, all different types of loot, good, bad, mixed, medium, whatever. It has amazing loot, but the only thing is you have to go through all the teleporters to get to them, so it is very time consuming. It is usually average loot, but there is quite some variety in there. But when it is a gold tier loot area, it is a hot drop, so you gotta be careful. After that, I have Imperial Village, which is it is not as popular as the other popular areas, but it does have good loot and it is easy to get away with without fighting, but you can loot up pretty well. On to our next category, we have the less popular areas, which first off is Jin Armory. It is a pretty good place to go after Matab or after Fortress of Caviani. It's a pretty good loot and it's pretty average. Next up, we have Pinnacle Town, which is a great place to go. Lots of loot. It can also even be your first drop, but I recommend it being your second drop, like your second place to go. Next up, we have Altar of Tranquility, which is a great place to go after Plume Castle or Yueshan Ruins. A lot of golds, but it is very limited, so you gotta probably go there in duos or solos, but pretty good overall. On to our final category, we have places to go from traveling from one location to the other. So the two that we have are Grizzly Rise and In the Dunes. They're both pretty good loot areas. I do personally recommend In the Dunes better because it has more consistent loot, but they are both very small and limited, so be careful to not like drop there first or second. Just go there when you're walking past. But that is everything for today. To summarize the best spots to go, I personally recommend always going to any gold tier loot area, no matter where they are on the map. Especially when I'm playing solos or duos. But if I am playing trios, I recommend going to a gold tier loot area that is large enough for 3 people. But that is everything for today's video. I hope you guys have found something interesting and catch you guys in another one. Peace.